Day 2 of the devolution conference, and Sophia Wanuna, who has been holding fort for us there, joins me live. Sophia, it was an interesting day yesterday, especially with the governors demanding to be allowed to oversee security within the counties to curb terrorism and crime. Well, what is the focus today?
Thank you very much, Betty. As you mentioned, indeed, that is how events unfolded yesterday here at the Tomboya Labour College in Kisumu. It is day 2 today, and there have been a number of sessions already going on. One of the things and the discussions that we saw earlier on was the question of public participation and whether Kenyans at the grassroots level are being involved in the county government, in the decisions there. Are the county authorities engaging them sufficiently? And there was input from across the board. Of course, there are those who feel that could happen a little bit more. There are those who feel it is already taking place, even as far as budget preparations at that particular level. So that is one of the conversations that has already happened here. Another issue that's actually still ongoing, as perhaps you can see behind me, there is a session that is currently ongoing, 1/3 gender rule, and the question and issue of women. And one of the questions that one of the attendees here was raising is that you have quite a number of women as registered voters, but as we speak, as a country, we do not have an elected female governor or senator, and they're asking, are women their worst enemies, that they don't elect their own? So some of the issues, again, being discussed in this particular forum, day 2 of the annual delegation, devolution conference, the second one after the first we saw held last year, and this one was opened yesterday by President Uhuru Kenyatta. And of course, we'll continue to update you on the various discussions that will be going on here. But as you know, a number of governors, quite most of them actually, I understand over 40 of them in Kisumu. And one of them is the Nairobi governor, Dr. Evans Kidero. He's joining me now. And Governor, thank you so much for making time for us. Let's talk devolution first. And this particular conference, 2 years on. We've had a lot of, yes, there's been teething problems, but surely, in as far as the challenges that devolution has faced, should we now go past teething problems to what are really the challenges, and is there political will across the board to deal with the same?
Thank you very much. Must say Kisumu is buzzing. We had a very, very successful opening yesterday, presided over by His Excellency the President. In attendance as well was the former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, governors, senior government officials. And of course, this follows the conference, the very first one we had in Kwale exactly a year ago.
Yes.
When we had the conference in Kwale, we were just beginning. Probably not all CECs had been appointed. The counties had not passed all the necessary laws and regulations that would enable them work. But right now, 2 years on, the theme is we are celebrating the gains of devolution from our own eyes as the implementers, but also the people who get the service. I did do a presentation yesterday as the chairman of the first conference, basically on the 23 resolutions that we passed then and how far we've implemented them. And this covered various areas like intergovernmental relations. It covered the passing of laws and how we've trained our legal people.
Yeah, and intergovernmental relations, back to that question, is there enough political will across the board in as far as not playing politics, but really seeking to ensure that services are getting closer to the people, still at the county level?
Absolutely. You know, the intergovernmental relations is implemented or managed through the summit. And in the last 1 year, we did not have the the Intergovernmental Relations Council. And right now, that was one of the resolutions that had been passed. We know Professor Karega and his team have been appointed and they'll be managing that. So I'm sure that we will see a much smoother relationship going forward. The other more important things were in terms of devolved functions. A lot of the functions that were devolved have been taken up by the counties, but also there are areas which there were disagreements, especially like areas on roads, and that went to court and went back again to the court, said that we go back and negotiate. So that's still hanging in the air.
Okay. All right, let's move along, Governor. I'll cut you short there. Apologies for that, but let's move to Nairobi. County, where you are the chief, and talk about some of the issues that Nairobians watching this afternoon will be keen to hear from you on. One of them, decongestion. And many have argued that Nairobi was built for cars, for vehicles. And we've seen a lot of work in terms of infrastructure happening outside and around Nairobi. But what has failed to happen is to ensure that the same amount of work and effort is happening within the CBD to decongest the same. Some of your efforts have seen, we've seen some reversals in essence to see traffic continue to flow. What is going to be the solution to this mess? We are losing a lot of money. It's frustrating. Even you yourself mentioned some families are breaking up because of this. What will be the solution?
I think, the first place is that Nairobi has not developed infrastructure commensurate with the population growth and the number of cars that's growing. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we had only 1,200 kilometers of roads. And we had only about 40,000 vehicles. Right now we have close to 700,000 vehicles. And we've only developed no more than 600 kilometers of roads. By now we should be having probably 4,000 kilometers of roads. We only have 2,200. So congestion is inevitable because we do register 8,000 vehicles in Nairobi a month, which means 100,000 per year. And this is what necessitated what we do to decongest Nairobi. The one, which is long term, is to develop public transport system. And that's why in the 9 transport corridors that we've developed, this is going to take time. We'll be able to have what we call the BRT, Bus Rapid Transit System, which starts with the Outer Ring Road, Juja Road, Jogo Road, Langata Road, Ngong Road, and of course the Uhuru Highway. The first of such projects is the one we launched a few weeks ago. That is Outer Ring Road, where we will have dedicated lanes for buses, 12-meter buses, and articulated 18-meter buses. But that's going to take time.
When you say take time, how long should Kenyans give for this reprieve to be seen? A realistic timeline?
But surely, we know we have to build roads. To build a road like Outer Ring Road is going to take 3 years. We started now. It's going to be ready in 2018.
So this mess will continue for 2 to 3 years?
It will continue. But we are doing, what we are doing now in the short term is to try and get relief. And the first thing we've done is to remove the trailers from passing through the city center. And I'm sure Nairobians, and I've seen Mathri Center saying that Jogo Road is good, Mombasa Road is good.
Let's talk about Mombasa Road, because I use that quite a bit. At least I can talk from a point of information. And you had to remove those drums that had been put up because it really did not help the solution. And there are those who question and wonder, are these measures you're putting in place in the short term being well thought out, or are they just being dropped? Is it trial and error as they're thinking through
I think
this?
Quite a lot of research. You cannot build a road, you cannot manage traffic by trial and error. You do time motion studies, you do vehicle counts, you do pedestrian counts, and all that was done. But you will recall that when we placed the drums and limited vehicles to left turns, at the same time we closed the southern bypass, which was quite a bit of a relief in taking the trailers. And now that trailers are going through the southern bypass, there is major relief. We are removing the roundabouts and replacing them with signalized junctions. And studies have shown that rather than the major roundabouts taking 6,000 vehicles per hour, it will go to 10,000 vehicles per hour without the restriction. So roundabouts will go to ease congestion. Bypasses have been built to ease
redirect the tracks
congestion.
there. Yeah.
And you can see people in Westlands agree that the closing of the Westland roundabout has actually improved flow in Westlands. Tomboya roundabout, when it was closed, is actually improved the flow of vehicles and even the fare to Kasarani has dropped.
But Governor, we saw the lights that were put up. 400 million shillings was spent on that, and also the cameras. That is a flopped project. And I remember speaking to your deputy governor at some point, and the reason that was given as to why those traffic lights were not working is that there was a software that had not been brought into the country that would then synchronize all these operations. Nairobians then lose confidence in as far as whether there's a clear direction in where we're going.
In the first place, we must appreciate that was never a county government project. It was actually being implemented. We inherited it from the Metropolitan Ministry of Metropolitan. And it only covers probably 20 junctions. Nairobi has 247 junctions. And the next phase which we are going to do, because phase 1 was what we've done. Phase 2 is signalized junction. And phase 3, where we are working with World Bank, we are going to do signalized junctions not only on 6 roundabouts, but 247 roundabouts in Nairobi. Right. And that's going to have, the project will be completed within the next 2 years.
All right, we need to hand this back to studio, but before we do that, let's talk quickly about security, CCTV cameras especially. Remember, you had indicated after the tragic killing of MP from Kabete that was captured. Later, it was realized that there were some cameras that were not working. And we're hearing now governors talking about devolved security. What do you see as your role, especially for Nairobi, the capital, the heart of Kenya, that needs to happen to ensure you're supporting the national government in securing?
In the first place, the cameras are working. That's what led to the arrest of the people who murdered Mheshimiwa Muchai.
Correct.
And those are not only cameras that are in the city. We have 49 cameras. The government has placed, and you'll recall, at Control and Command Center through Safaricom, they're putting another close to 1,000 cameras.
Yes.
Also, we've passed on our building laws. All buildings must have CCTVs, and that's not happening. So that is on hand. Okay. The second thing is we are improving the lighting of Nairobi. We've just renovated 26,000 lights. We are replacing all the sodium lamps with LED lamps so that they are brighter. And we are establishing, building within the next 6 months, another 56,000 street lights.
Yes.
Actually, tonight, we are testing the lights that we've done from Gong Road to Westlands through the Kilimani and Westlands Ring Road.
Okay.
And just to finish on the issue of security, there's nobody who knows areas better than the county government. Okay. And when the American ambassador, Mr. Godek, was presenting yesterday, and the British ambassador, they say that you cannot manage security without communities.
Correct.
And what the governors are asking is that as communities, they need to be given involvement. We're not asking to take. It's a question of cooperation and consultation as envisioned in our constitution.
Yeah, Dr. Kidero, unfortunately, we have to end it there. Rushed for time. I understand we must take this back to the lovely Betty Kialo, who's in Nairobi studio. Betty, perhaps if we have time, we'll do get back to us here at the Tom Mboya Labour College. We'll also be speaking to the Mombasa Governor Joho to get an indication of what's happening in as far as the nurses strike. And also he appeared before the EACC yesterday. His thoughts after that. Betty, back to you.
Sophia, thank you very much for that interesting discussion with Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero. Of course, we wait to see if those serious strategies that he's hoping to put in place will work for Nairobi residents.